let's get into today's issues. I wanted to really talk about quite a few things. You know, there's a lot of things that bug me, and there's a lot of things that I wish that I can fix. You know, I spoke about a few things about my life, you know, in my first podcast that I have been making, and it has been bugging me that here in Seattle, Washington, I feel as if, you know, I'm a citizen, I'm a resident of the state of Washington, and you know, the Constitution tells us that we have rights, we have the freedom of speech and the right to bear arms, right? The most important ones that we like, because we don't want any tyrannical government to take advantage of us. And you know, I've been watching the man, I hate to say the Democrats, because I don't want to, you know, I don't want to make it that Democrats, it's a bad thing. You know, Democrats are the creators of the KKK, okay? Forget about the racist part. You know, we have evolved from there. Democrats were the bad party. Republicans were the good party, because the Republican Party was fighting for the freedom of slaves. Democrats wanted to keep slaves because of cheap labor, and this is how they make their money. And then somewhere along the lines, it got flipped. And the Democrats were actually fighting for the people, were fighting against immigration, and they were trying to push this country forward to where it needed to be. Now, for some reason, something changed, something clicked, and I think that one of the reasons why something has changed is because congressmen and senators have too long of terms in office. I've seen people, I mean, they're short to be in the coffin before they retire. Like, that's crazy. Why does the president have 4-year terms with a maximum of maybe 3, but 2 officially? Because power corrupts. And unfortunately, all these people that we have in Congress and on the Senate have been in power for too long. And I'm just going to go back just 3 decades ago. In the 90s, the Democrats were still kind of okay. Late 90s, they started changing. Early 2000s, they're starting to become too radical. They started going farther left and farther left. And we as patriots, as American citizens, we like it right in the middle. We don't want to be too far right. We don't want to be too far left. We want to be right in the middle where, you know, you can't please everybody, right? We can't please everybody, but we can do the best that we can to make sure that our American citizens are taken care of and that this nation keeps moving in the way that it's supposed to go. And so to forward a little bit, Democrats have been getting rich. A lot of these politicians come in not rich, but they leave rich. And they don't leave because, you know, the term has expired, because they get caught doing something bad, or they are too old to keep going, to eventually they have to leave. I want to start off with how the world sees us. And I wanted to really break this in parts, but it's kind of connected. So I'm going to put the way the world sees us from the point of stand of enemies, friends, and trading. For the enemy part, I want to really get the point across, okay? Because you have to watch what's going on. Right now, Ukraine is being attacked by Russia. China is the one country, and China's our enemy, is the one country that retaliated against our tariffs. Now, why do I want to start on tariffs? And we're going to continue elaborating on tariffs. Tariffs are put in place to balance, to have an equilibrium of fair trade. For decades, other countries have been taking advantage of the United States. And it's important that we are wise on the decisions that we make. Have selective hearing sometimes. Ignore the evil, the bad, and the negative. I hope that this video comes out to your liking, because I want to make my point across. And sometimes I find that it's hard to make my point across. The whole thinking backwards in Spanish to English and all that stuff kind of throws me off, but I'm going to try to stay on point. We put tariffs on China and on the world. And what happens when we did that? Well, a lot of people started panicking because they don't know what the stock market and our economy are. They're separate things. The stock market does not dictate what our economy is looking like. But it is an influencer that can put fear in people so that they panic, lose money, or it can make some positive vibes and make people start investing more on certain companies, on certain stocks. Economy depends on the local process of how we maintain the dollar. We're trading locally. I buy a service from you. You give me a service, I give you some paper. I give you some money. And this is the economy. That's how it works. Businesses being open, tourists coming in, spending money with us. You know, we're providing services, we're making money. Okay, let's go past that. And let's talk how many people, how many countries have come right away. I mean, you might think that weeks is too long, but it takes years to make deals with tariffs. But it's taken weeks. During the first 100 years, we've had already deals made with specific countries that are key, I think, to us. The first one that came was Israel. And the most spectacular one has been in the Arab countries. And man, what a spectacular visit. That Prince of Saudi, man, those guys really showed off. Hats off. Thank you for respecting America. The love that you give our president is the love that we receive as American citizens, and we're proud of that. Thank you so much for that. But here we are. We have tariffs put in place. So China fought us the most, and they're still kind of fighting, right? They're on a temporary basis. And the thing is, a lot of countries be like, oh man, our economy is going down the toilet. We got to do something. We got to make a deal with the United States. And they're starting to panic. And then some of them came, they made some deals. And then what do they see? They see the thief Democrat politicians. Yeah, the same ones that have been using the stock market to make millions of dollars for themselves. While you and I keep getting broker, keep getting poorer. They make millions of dollars. Some of them made over 100% gains on on stocks. I mean, I listen to the pros. You know, I don't know much about stocks, but I know the basics. And I can tell you that if I am a congressman and I know that a certain company is going to go through some deals, I am going to invest accordingly. And that's an insider trading. I think that's what they call it. And that is illegal. Yet these people in government, even some Democrats, Republicans, have done this. Now, it's legal, still. It is legal for them to go ahead and play the stock. That's okay. Now, I'm not going to say that they should stop. I mean, this is a way of making money, but you got to do it fairly. Now, why do I tell you this? Because the Democrats in office right now, they're not Democrats. They're communists, Marxists, socialists. And we have no room in this country for communists. I'm sorry, but if you are a Democrat, for generations of generations, you have to understand the Democratic Party right now needs to be cleansed. We need new people in the Democratic Party. And it's so important, guys. I told you guys, I think, man, so many different options when I think of something. But right now, what comes to my mind is Democrats need to be cleansed. They need to be completely removed. And why do I say that? Because the ones that we have right now are liars. They lie to us for the last 4 years. That's the reason why many Democrats or smart Americans went and voted for Donald J. Trump. Because they saw the difference of what Donald J. Trump did the first term. And they saw the difference of what Joe Biden, which, let's be honest, it wasn't Joe Biden. But Joe Biden's administration did was putting the country to the toilet. And guys, it's not even Joe Biden. We know he wasn't there. It is very obvious, and we've said it for many years. And these people, the Democratic Party, Congress, and Senate Democrats, lie to us, to our face, and said he's the smartest, the sharpest president they've ever had in history. CNN, MSNBC, ABC, all these news outlets were spilling the same garbage, the same lines, the same words, the same rhetoric. How can they possibly do that across the nation? Many lie to us, straight to us. Why would we listen to their news? Why would we watch their channel? I tried watching it so that I can get some information, but it's so hard to watch a liar that keeps lying and lying. Do you know why Donald Trump gets mad at these reporters when he says, that's a stupid question? Why would you ask a stupid question? You know, I thought about it, and I was like, President, that's kind of mean, they have no choice. They have to ask the question. Well, here is why he's right and I'm wrong. Because as a journalist, you don't go ask stupid questions. If you heard a rumor, then you go and look into it, research it, and come back. And if you're still going to ask that stupid question, then you can say respectfully, Mr. President, there was a rumor that this was going on. I don't agree with it. I don't know. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. I would like to hear, and the American people would like to hear, is this rumor true? I think President Trump can be like, well, that's a stupid question, bud. You think I'm going to answer a question? I'm going to answer it. Yes, it's true. I love Donald Trump. He is so hilarious. But he is a very smart, wise businessman. Now, mind you, that we all make mistakes. But if there's one thing that I have learned about making mistakes, is that I get better because I made that mistake. My decisions are not the same because I made mistakes throughout my whole life. I will tell you my life in future podcasts because I think it's important that people get to know me. I really want you guys to know why I am the way that I am and why I talk the way that I talk. And a lot of it has been from my childhood all through my days till today, of everything that I've gone through. So I will share some of that stuff with you guys. But going back, we have lying media, we have lying Democrats. We can't trust the politicians. Now, guys, if you're a Democrat and you're watching this, I don't have many subscribers, maybe 50 subscribers by now. But if you get to watch this video, I don't want you to ever think that when I say Democrats, it means you specifically. It means the ones that are supporting the lies, the ones that keep going out there and disrupting the peace. I see a lot of these people that go and protest. They have mental problems, and I think that's probably why they hire them, because they don't know what they're doing. I actually really feel bad for them. You can tell they're not mentally stable, and I'm sorry, but that's what I see on the protest and you'll see. I'll show you a video at the end of this, a little clip. But going back, okay, so why do I say that the Democrats should be replaced? Well, because I believe that having a Democratic Party and a Republican Party, which seems to be the biggest party group that we have here, is competition. We need competition. I want people to compete, Republicans and Democrats. I want them to compete against each other to see who can be the best for this country. But what happens? In this country was founded under God. Whether people like it or not, it is the truth. It was founded under God by Christians. Whether you like that kind of Christian or not, it doesn't matter. It's still a Christian country. And thus, we abide by the law of God, the Bible. Now, we have a separation of power in church, right? We do have that. But nonetheless, we still believe that this country is blessed after all the atrocities, after all the fights and wars and deaths and all this stuff that has happened throughout our history, slavery and all that stuff. This country is still being blessed. One reason is because we stand with Israel. We consider them our allies, our friend. And though we might have some disagreements along the way, Every brother has it. Every sister has it. And so we are not going to say it's a perfect friendship, but nonetheless, it is a friendship. And we love God. Maybe most of the country doesn't love God or doesn't believe in God or can care less about Christianity. And that's okay. Because the very few Christians that really are Christians are in prayer for you and for me. And I think that God's mercy is so great that that's the reason why this country is still being blessed and still being lifted. You know, many years ago, the British, the European Union thought that we were garbage, that we were nothing. And within years, within a decade, we became one of the most powerful nations in the world. One of them, because it's not like we're one and that's it and that's it. No, one of them. But God has blessed us. We have enjoyed freedoms for decades, and this is why we have entitled dumb kids that never got disciplined. And I believe that the generation of parents that we have today are those that says, when I grow up, I'm going to let my child do whatever he wants because I don't like the way my dad talked to me. I don't like the way my mother talked to me. And as I said, one day I'll tell you my story about my life so that you can see why I talk the way I talk. I don't care what your childhood was like. You still have a choice to make. And so our enemies watching, right? They don't want to deal anymore because they see Democrats, judges, trying to get rid of tariffs. They are taking away the tool that the president has to make a deal. Do you think the Europeans didn't know that the Democrats are trying to get the tariffs off the table? Of course they did. That's why they say, give us more time. You know why? Because they're working on a plan to get those tariffs off. And that way they don't have to deal. But you and I know that these deals are supposed to benefit the American people. And doggone it, even you idiots out there that are fighting us are going to benefit from these benefits, from these deals that the president is doing. I'm going to tell you, I admire Donald Trump even more. But before I tell you how much I admire him, well, I admire him a lot. I am not happy with his administration because they have been giving him information to go out in public to share, and some of it is not what the president thinks. It's not really important, and I'm going to point out two of the ones that I'm the most pissed off about, because his administration needs to give him facts and explain exactly what they're giving him. One of them was the gangbanger with the MS-13. They didn't explain to him. That was Photoshop just to illustrate what the symbols meant. That's one of them. The second one was the crosses from South Africa. They didn't tell him that those just represent a death. It didn't represent, it wasn't like, a cemetery. No, those crosses represented a death, which is still the same meaning, except it's not a cemetery. They're not tombs. And so that's what I'm pissed off about the administration, but much power to them because they seem to respect each other. They seem to be united, and there is a love. And I'm going to tell you, Donald Trump is a businessman. I have tried businesses. One of them is sponsored by Donald Trump. And everything that I see in the White House, that's exactly how he teaches business owners to behave. Because the more they support each other, the more they surround each other with positivity, with good ideas, the more they're going to be successful in their strategies to make this country great again. I think it's great, but it needs to be greater. Our enemies, let's talk about one in specific, Hamas, the terrorist organization Hamas. What do these guys do? They're such cowards. They like to terrorize. They're so evil. But they kill their own people and they blame Israel. They attack Israel, but Israel is protected by God. The technology given to them was given by God. And so they're being protected with that. Hamas knows that in war, hospitals are protected buildings that you don't normally attack during a war. But they know this, and so they go in there and hide amongst a lot of innocent people. And there's children and women. It's sad. But The moment that they take over that building, that deal goes off and they can bomb it and they can attack it because terrorist groups are occupying that building so it can be destroyed. I'm not going to condemn any killings, any deaths. Of course, I'm sorry for all the innocent children that have to die. But Palestinian children are not any more important than Israel children. The Israelites have as much right to live as the Palestinians do. You know, they have been given the chance to go to another country, and even a lot of them have become Israeli citizens. It's amazing. So what does Hamas do? Right now, what they're doing, and maybe Iran, who knows? I don't know how all the connections are there, but I know they are. Hamas sends students, a lot of students. A lot of these people, a lot of our enemies send students over here to get an education. But the reality is that we have seen lately is they don't come here just to get an education to help America. They come to get an education to go take back to their country, but that's not their goal. Their goal is to come over here and use the same freedoms that you and I have the right to use, which I think that a student visa, any foreign student that comes over here does not have that right. As a matter of fact, there's rules and they have to behave. And if they ever get in any association with any terrorist group, they're gone. They're gone. So I'm glad Secretary Rubio is doing his job. Keep kicking some ass. Get these guys out of here. More Americans need to actually have a chance to study in these universities anyways. And let me tell you the other thing. They send people here to create riots and protest and make chaos in our country for their little war. And our American kids, our stupid young people, they don't know any better. So they go and join these groups. You even have the gays over there supporting, oh, gays for Hamas, for the Palestine. They'll be thrown off a building over there. They get beheaded. They get stoned. And this is the people they say they want to protect. Come on, man. Many people are afraid of all the changes that Donald Trump and the administration is doing. The tariffs, everybody panicked. Let me tell you, when we went to war, and I don't even want to say we, as me, I was involved. I really feel like crap taking credit for somebody else's sacrifice, but because they died for me, for all of us, okay? I say we, because it's always we the people. Man, God bless their souls. And God bless the families of those veterans that we have. It touches my heart, you know, and it plays with your mind sometimes. But my point I'm trying to make is Donald Trump and the administration, they fight to win. Like us, you know, as a coach, I play to win the game. Democrats, they don't fight to win. They fight so that maybe some peace can happen. In the long run, we're just giving everything away and forget about the American citizens' future and our children. I don't fight to lose and get a participation trophy. And that's how I define Republicans at this time and age. Republicans fight to win. Democrats fight to get a participation trophy. And there's a big difference on that. You know, our governor, Bob Ferguson, here in Washington State, he had this little private press meeting with some business owners and some unions from that have the docks over here where they deal with import and exporting and all that stuff, right? He says that he is going to sue, as a matter of fact, they are actually suing already, that he was going to sue Donald Trump for the tariffs because it's causing hardship on businesses and we're losing money. Man, it makes me so mad. He just signed a $9.5 billion tax bill that we have to pay as the people. It affects every resident here in Washington State. Bob Ferguson wants to tax businesses. He wants to tax the small corporations. He wants to tax property owners. And he wants to tax everything you can think of. Gas prices don't go down here in Washington because of the taxes that he keeps imposing on the people. And I'm not making this up, folks. I'm really not. But after doing all this, he wants to complain about Donald Trump's tariffs. The hypocrisy is unbelievable. And we have to put up with it. What a shame. There were some Christians that had a small concert in a park here in Seattle. I'll remind you some things. We're American citizens. We are residents of Washington, and we can go anywhere we want. It's a public place. It's for everybody. We have the freedom of speech, and then we have a freedom of religion. Two things. Now, Antifa and some members, some crazy-ass members of the LGBTQ plus perversion, went to there to cause havoc. They went over there. Well, let me show you a clip.
Developing tonight, chaos in the middle of Capitol Hill with 23 people arrested. Glad you're with us. Hi, everybody. I'm Michelle Esteban. The chaos unfolded after a religious pro-life group put on a concert at Cal Anderson Park. That is when counter-protesters showed up, insisting the whole thing was meant to intimidate the trans community. KOMO's Ryan Sims has more from Cal Anderson Park tonight. And Ryan, this got so intense that safety reinforcements were actually brought in.
That's right. As you mentioned, 23 arrests so far. That is how it is as the night comes to a close. You know, you can see that the park is largely clear right now, obviously peaceful, but that was not the case today. As you mentioned, reinforcements had to be brought in the forms of Washington State troopers. They had to provide reinforcement to all those SPD officers at the height of this chaos. Again, 23 people are now in custody after the catastrophe and really all the destruction today. Going forward, we are told that all those people arrested could face charges of both obstruction and assault. As for what occurred, counter-protesters showed up here speaking out against a concert organized by a group called On Fire Ministries, a religious pro-life group that promotes a two-gender ideology, with critics, though, calling it anti-trans and anti-LGBTQ. In response to everything that happened, one of the counter-protesters told us she is angry with the city for allowing this concert to even happen here, while one of the actual concert goers says she means no harm. This is what they both told us earlier.
The city, instead of having them do this downtown, decided this was a good location for them. Thanks, City of Seattle.
I'm not trying to tell you what to do, what nothing. It's none of my business. I'm not here to judge. But Jesus loves you so much.
As you can see in some of the footage that we brought you, at the height of today's unrest, dozens of police officers were needed to get everything under control, and that eventually did happen. After about 2 hours of skirmishes, peaceful protests happened as that concert did go on as had been planned.
Now, after all of this that you see there, this is what the mayor of Seattle says.
And it says in part this: Seattle is proud of our reputation as a welcoming, inclusive city for the LGBTQ plus communities. And we stand with our trans neighbors when they face bigotry and injustice. Today's far-right rally was held here for this very reason, to provoke a reaction by promoting beliefs that are inherently opposed to our city's values in the heart of Seattle's most prominent LGBTQ plus neighborhood.
Can you believe this? Why is he making an exception for them and not for us? We're all American citizens. We all deserve to be treated equal. They don't want us to go protest against their sexual immorality. They march in downtown with all their stuff hanging out. Innocent children are being yelled at, being cussed out, while their parents are holding them in their arms. Unacceptable. But I'm going to tell you something. The good people, the good patriots of this country that got a lot of tolerance for all this wrongdoings on all of us. We're like a sleeping lion. And the Democrats and all these crazy people out there keep pulling the tail of the sleeping lion. But one day that lion is going to wake up and it's going to tear them apart. Now, I'm not calling out for violence, but they are. And when they become violent, the only way to stop that is with the same force. I gotta be careful with what I say here, because I've seen a lot of stupid people going out there and doing the wrong thing that we want to, send across in our message. And one of them is, if they decide that they want to go to a civil war, they're going to lose and nobody wins. In the Civil War, nobody won. America lost. We lost a lot of courageous people, valiant people on both sides. We lost. Nobody won. You know, there is a lot of things in our history, in our past, that I think is important for everybody to learn. Today I wanted to share how easy it is for our enemies to beat us and to keep abusing us when we have a party that wants to destroy us in our government. I'm going to leave you with this truth. President Biden was not the president. His wife has a lot to answer for because she knew the results of his tests, and yet went on The View, yet still today says that he's perfectly fine. Liar. I don't care if that's your husband. You got to be honest with the people. You cannot be lying to the people. And then I also learned that Pocahontas was in charge of the digital pen. Oof. The same one that lied that she was a Native American to not have to pay college tuition. You remember that? Remember that story? And then she collected hundreds of thousands of dollars in speeches. The same liars then are the same liars today. You know why? Because they can be in office for as long as they want. And what is the point that I made at the beginning of this video? Power corrupts. If the president has a term limit, so do congresswomen, so do congressmen, so do senators. They need to have terms limits. It is ridiculous. These people are in office so long. Judges think that we voted for them to be president. I trust my president to keep us safe. And he needs to do whatever he needs to do as long as it's constitutional and the people are behind him, so that we can be prosperous, so that we can become a great nation again. Democrat politicians and corrupt activist judges, stop being an obstacle for the prosperity and the golden age, as they say, of America. You should be ashamed of yourself. Most of the people voted for Trump. A lot of people don't vote because they feel that they're not being heard anyways. Why do I not run for governor here in Washington State? Because I'm not going to get the votes. And maybe I'm wrong about that. Who knows? Maybe one day I'll try. But what I do know is that as an American citizen, I have rights. And I don't care if this is a democratic state. If you're a Democrat by loyalism, hey, it's okay. But I will just let you know that thanks to you staying quiet and not doing anything, and even any other Republican or independent, any patriot that stays quiet when the government is abusing its people is an accomplice. It is guilty of every corrupted politician that is in office right now. Listen, I am not a homophobic. I don't hate on the LGBT. Let's just keep it an LGB and Q, I guess. People have, they want to do what they want to do. That's fine. I don't hate the people, but I hate the sin. Don't make me watch that crap. I don't want it around me. I'm heterosexual. I don't go around over there French kissing and doing all this stuff in front of people in the parks. Some do because they're stupid, but they shouldn't. It should be treated as indecent exposure or whatever other name you want to call it. You need to keep that stuff in the closet. You really do. Don't be too entitled. You have your rights, but we have our right. You are people and so are we. You don't believe in God, but we do. You want us to respect you, you have to respect us. Respect is given where respect is earned. You don't like it when some people go to your protests and they go over there and they're asking questions. Why do you think this is good? Why do you go against it? You don't like being questioned because you don't have answers. You know that what you're doing is wrong. I hope that Democrats get to watch this video. I really do. Where's our Democratic Party? We want it back. It is healthy to have competition. It is healthy that we have different reps running for this country, but not corrupted ones. Don't support crime. They are so easy on crime, yet they're so hard on law-abiding citizens. Even the news are so biased. They put nasty titles against the Christian church for having a concert in a park. And even that lady that you saw, thank you, city of Seattle. How dare she? This city is for everybody. It's not just for them. This city is not founded for LGBTQ. It's founded for the Washingtonians. And everybody has the same right as the person next to them. Let's get rid of these illegal immigrants. Sanctuary cities. They're not helping. They're being part of the problem. Democrats only want them here because that's the way that they can make money. Well, we're not in slave times anymore. And the people are smarter and wiser than ever before, and their eyes are more open. You think about that. Our enemies are watching us fight each other so they don't listen to the threat of tariffs. They don't want to deal with us right away. They think that we're going to destroy each other. Our enemies are waiting for us to destroy each other so that they can take advantage of our trading. They want us to fight against each other while they send hundreds and thousands of their people to our universities to cause chaos. I'll leave it at that. Guys, if you've been watching this long, thank you so much for watching this video. Until next time, you all be safe. God bless.